I mean, we went through COVID. They shut down the entire world. They disrupted global commerce. They wrecked the minds and peace of mind of nearly everyone that was believing all that horse shit. So we are still getting through all of the damage that was done psychologically to a lot of people. And a lot of big firms don't exist anymore. A lot of brokerage firms were harmed in that. Traders were harmed in that. So it's not that they changed the algorithm. They disrupted. This was kind of like what I was warning. In 2016, I used to do Twitter Spaces, and I talked about how they were going to use Trump. They were going to let him in, and he was going to be the fall guy. They're going to let him build this collection of people that swore an allegiance to this man, who has no experience doing what he's doing, but he's a businessman. And since the American continent and country is a corporation, and everyone that's born and given a social security number is a slave to that corporation, they are forced to work and give their money and proceeds to this corporation, or they have the experience of losing their freedom, okay, or be penalized. This whole thing from 2016's conversation has been an unfolding of everything I've outlined. And we're in the latter stages of that. They have something that works. This algorithm is absolutely like mind control to speculators. They're not aware of it. The people that kick and scream and say there is no algorithm, but they're forced to look at the data that we present and saying, here's the continuity of what I'm saying is going to happen in the marketplace. It's not anchored to anything else. So when someone says, and like yourself say, and I mean this with all due respect, I just want to correct you where there is no changing of this algorithm. They have worked so hard to place it in every instrument, and the amount of money that they control. It's not about them always making money with it. It's not what it is. It's the control of wealth. It's the control and disbursement of the transition from wealth to wealth. Who gets it right now? Who's not allowed to have it right now? Who's being punished? There's a whole lot of things that's going on behind the scenes that I'm not going to delve into because, number one, we would never have the time to. I'm just not going to do it. Let's put it that way, because I'm already touching on things I said I wouldn't talk about anymore. But we're seeing a time in history where they created this boogeyman. COVID is this invisible killer that only will kill you if you stand up in a restaurant. But as long as you're wearing your mask, if you're standing up, or take your mask off below like a poker room that's full of smoke. You walk through it, the upper half of the room is full of smoke. But if you get down real low, you're afraid. You won't have to be afraid of breathing any smoke. They created this illusion of this monster that's going to get you. And people are still afraid of it. They're driving around with their mask on and alone in their cars. So there's been damage that's been done. It was an IQ test. It was a beta test. The real thing is coming. The real thing is going to come. And at that time, it's going to feel like they changed their algorithm. But they're just going to go to another level, a more intense version of what we just saw, where the market will absolutely be untradeable for a short period of time. It's meant for wealth distribution. It's going to be taken away from 401k holders. It's going to take away all that wealth that's there. Even your baby Bitcoin is going to feel this because there's so much money there to plunder.
That's making me feel sick.
Don't. Well, you shouldn't feel sick. You shouldn't feel sick because, number one, the average person doesn't see it coming. And when it happens, they're going to be very anxious. They're going to be very scared. They're going to feel like this is the end of the world and I'm never going to be able to find a way out of this. And for some, that's probably going to be true. But since I'm trying to tell you in advance that these are the types of things that we're going to see, do you not see Trump being set up as a fall guy? Can you see that? The fact that all these things were promised, but we're not really seeing it. We're seeing a little bit of people get deported, but really we're not seeing any of that stuff. We're seeing reasons for people to be in the streets this summer going at each other's throats. That's what we're seeing. All this is theater. So when you see the reverberations from all these things and it translates into market volatility, when it becomes unsafe to go out there and go into stores and shop and commerce starts to dip because of that, they're going to come up with all these narratives that saying this is why it's happening and this is why it's going to happen. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And then people are going to be fearful in trading. And then they're going to start creating these gaps in liquidity. That gap in liquidity, nobody's going to not want to get out of their stuff.
That's insane.
They're going to want to sell.
That's insane.
But there's going to be so much of a disparity between where they allow price to be at right now and how far they drop it down because they want to lock in a premium. They want to lock in a premium to what's available to be plundered. And that's going to be untradeable. You're not going to be able to trade that portion of it. So because I'm telling you in advance, now 9 years ago, it takes a long time for these macro events to take place. As I said back then, I said, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but you got to prepare yourself for it. And here we're at his swan song. He's in his second term, and he went in promising a lot of stuff, and he's not delivering on very much. And I'm telling you that we're going to see another example of extreme volatility in the marketplace. And it will be jarring. It will be unsettling. But let's be fair. Okay. You said that you're trying to work with $500 and you're trading gold. Gold, to me, is an event-driven market. And I don't think it should be traded every single day. Personally, it doesn't fit my personality. There's no changing of an algorithm. They have worked very, very hard to make this as hands-off as possible. And they only intervene when it's advantageous for them on the very short term. Nothing has changed. There's been periods of disruption in the past. It's just been a larger magnitude of it just recently. But there's always been this scheduled disruption. And it's always like 100 years. It always happens. I get this emailed to me all the time. Are you afraid that you're going to become the new retail logic and they're going to change your algorithm? No. Because to say that is somehow they're going to find a way to prevent people from placing a buy stop above old highs. What's the chances of that happening? How can they prevent anyone from keeping an interest in placing a buy stop above a single high or relative equal highs? There's nothing they can do to stop people from having that impulse because that's what people believe is safe when they go short. Same thing said when you look at an old low or relative equal lows, how are they going to stop or discourage the interest of placing? Because we do it now. We've been doing it for years publicly, attacking relative equal lows. You would think people would catch on and stop putting stop losses below and above those relative equal highs, but they still do it. Why? Because they're following tainted water. The logic behind all that stuff is permeated in this industry through books, through educators that regurgitate all that stuff. And as long as those things remain true, liquidity is an unchangeable thing. It's a factor that will not be changed. And its only other asset to why price goes up and down is the measurement of time. So you're going to change the time? Are times going to change? Are they going to change the sessions? When do people wake up and trade in London? You say you're in London, right? Are they going to move the sun and stars and change everything around where you're going to wake up at a different time? No, of course not. What you're seeing is a disruption to global trade and commerce. And that's directly affecting the currency markets. Not one currency over another, but them globally. There is an active pursuit to come together with one currency. And we're seeing the infancy of that starting to take place. And there's going to be a lot of people kicking and screaming. Certain countries are going to say, I'm not interested in that, but they're going to slowly work towards doing that. Not every country is going to have the same currency, but there's going to be this big global movement to normalize global trade with one currency. Now, there's going to be smaller countries that deal with, individuals that will accept payment for this and that, but you're seeing it. You're seeing this. The BRICS nation is putting a big spotlight on that. They're trying to do away with the dollar. And in the United States, there's two factions that are fighting for control to keep the dollar, but they want to hurt it in the short term. So all these things are what's behind the scenes that's causing this prolonged disruption, which is the reason why Forex is, in my opinion, unfavorable at the moment, and where equities are favorable. There will be a time where currencies become a little bit more lucrative, but it's going to be a short period of time. And then it's going to go into a very exaggerated, extreme level of untradability. When you start seeing countries say, think about it. The Deutschmark. Okay? The Deutschmark used to be a currency I used to trade back in the 90s. You can't do that anymore. It's not available to you to trade. Now, there's people using them still, but they're not actively traded. So you have these things that are being sorted out for all these currencies out there. And look at the wrestling match that China and Russia are putting up against the U.S. Do you think that's going to just stop because someone gets in office? No. They're slowly working out who's going to be in control. It's like, you're in London, you have your Conservative Party and you have your Liberal Party. Well, it's kind of like the same thing happening in the financial struggle to who's going to be controlling of all this. That's exactly what's going on right now. And they're butting heads with one another, and it's in other countries, and they're forming factions together that undermine one country's currency versus another currency. And it's an ugly fight right now. It's dirty, which is the reason why I said I'm taking a step back, because I'm not willing to be in a move like when they depegged the euro and the Swiss. I'm not interested in that. And that's what we're in. We're in that type of climate. I don't see them having that level of aggression in equities yet. So I'm going to trade in equities. I'm going to go back to where I started and cut my teeth as a trader.
That's true.
Commodities are going to be a safer. Overall, commodities like your grain markets. I think the grain market's going to be wild this year, going into the next year. I think in 2 years, the grain market's going to be huge, way beyond what we've seen them through COVID. We had a little bit of a run up in them. It's great, but we're not done. Like, that's not done. We haven't even really got to the heart of what's really going on. And what we're seeing now, where China's saying, you know what, I'm not shipping anything over there to the U.S. And they're going to try to starve us with things and try to break Trump. China's willing to break their own country and its own citizens. Okay, you think they're going to be, helpful to us when they have something to be on the line? Their image, they're being punked by the United States president. You're going to do this or else. Well, China's going to be like, look, you haven't seen how we treat our own kids, and you think we're going to be nicer to you? We're already being punished. So why should we not pull out all the stops and say, you're going to come to the table on our terms? So you're a consuming nation. You're not a producing nation. So let's see who deals with it longer than the other. Because they can deal with Russia. They can deal with all the other BRICS nations and still get by. Where are we going to get our junk from? Where are we going to get our pharmaceuticals from? See, all those things are huge, paramount issues that have a direct relationship to what? Currencies and global trade. All that's going to be affected. And Forex is going to have this period of, wow, wake up time, and it's going to create this strength, this leader of one or two currencies. And that huge imbalance is going to cause the next wave of interest in Forex. And you're going to have that little sympathy play with all the other smaller currencies. But one or two of them is going to lead. And it might be something that's directly related to China or Russia. And it may not be their individual currencies. But what country warms up to them best through global trade, and then they start usurping the control and interest that other currencies have right now. If you go back and look at how I taught the currency market, you're always looking for the relative strength leader when you're bullish, and you're always looking for the weakest trade or weakest currency when you're trying to go short. So you're watching that, and because we had global disruption with COVID, it's not going to be like a 1 week event. It's not going to be a couple months. It's a long, we've done serious damage globally. And we're slowly starting to come to realize just how bad that was. And it's still being worked out. But it's also the opportunity for someone or some country to come out there and just say, you know what, we're going to now be the global reserve currency because the dollar just ain't it anymore. And that's an ugly fight. So it's not that there's an algorithm change. It's not the algorithm is evolving. It's just there's a lot of manual intervention, and that's not doing anything except for a very short term. And in terms of where we've been in COVID, 2020 stuff to now, it feels like a lifetime because it's stressful because we make our money from doing these things. We trade and we assume risk, and risk has been elevated for years since COVID. But we've normalized that. And it feels like something's changed. No, the only thing that's changed is that you have adapted to this, but you're getting worn out by it. You're wanting to see it end and to move back to a little bit more easier time of trading. And no one can time that. No one can say it's going to happen right here, right now. And you have to just do what the market's going to give you. Work with what cards you're dealt. And knowing that these things won't last in perpetuity, there's going to be an end to it. But just know at the end of it, there's a bigger wave coming. We have not left that portion of the conversation. That's still in the offing. It's looming. And that's not a fear mongering. That's not any kind of fear porn. It's just the realities, folks. And if you prepare yourself mentally for this thing to happen like this, you're not going to be surprised by it. And you can take a step back from risk, where everybody else will be like, wow, this is the time to trade. No, it won't be. Because you're going to get crushed. The next big one, the big event, is going to be untradeable. And if you're caught offside, it's going to undo you. And if you think that you can chase it and do other things with it, like it's not going to pan out like you think it is. It's meant to completely melt down everything. Everything's going to drop. Gold is going to drop. Everything. But the only thing that's going to go up is real commodities, because that's the grocery store of the world. Those things are going to go through the roof because people need to eat. People need supplies. They need the energies to run whatever it is they're providing for their community, their service, their electric, the heating, the services. All these people need to live. And there's no reason to be trading NASDAQ futures except for greed. There's no reason to trade Eurodollar except for greed. That's a sign to that. It's a greed. Commodities, food, and real staples that make the world go round, they are always going to have a value. And when things are hard to get, what do you think the value is going to go? Exceedingly high. There's no limit to where they're going to go. And this stuff that's going on in Iran, India, and Pakistan, all of these little side quests and little proxy wars that are happening, they're going to all of a sudden jump into your headlines one day, and it's all going to be like, this is the side I'm on, this is the side I'm on. And then shit's going to hit the fan. Energy's going to go through the roof, orbit, like past moon, like we're in another solar system. Metals are going to go through the roof because everybody's going to be like, I need to be in something tangible. Your Bitcoin bullshit, all that crypto stuff, they're going to melt down, crazy meltdown. Because you can't go to the grocery store and say, here, let me give you this Bitcoin on a wallet I can't access because the grid's down. You're shit out of luck. You're shit out of luck. The pawn stores and all these metal dealers, they're not going to buy or sell none of it when it's going on. You don't realize that this is what we're in that stage of this. And yes, it sounds scary. But if you understand what I'm saying is, these are periods when you don't want to increase risk and you want to take a step back. You want to really be a risk-averse person. Because that's what's coming. And if you haven't paid attention to what I said in 2016, and everything I said has lined up, boom, 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 you're about to see the real act. You're about to see that stuff. And if you're not careful, you can look at this and say, oh, it's time to be John Wayne. I'm going to cowboy up and take on more risk and trade aggressively and do maximum leverage and do more harm to yourself and versus preserve what you have. Be diligent about not risking anything then. I don't know how long it'll be. I don't know when it's going to start, but I'm preparing you to be expecting something like that. And if you can't look around the geopolitical scene and see how all this stuff is trying to make sure you forget what they lied to us about in 2020, what they've done to us, not just in America, everywhere. They've put things in people's bodies that should have never been put there. And for the people that were smart enough to say, I ain't having that shit go inside me, believe me, there ain't nobody that did not take that shot that's saying, I wish I would have done that now. But there's a whole lot of people. I've lost friends and family that are no longer here because their brain hemorrhaged, their heart expanded, and blew out just like that 2 days after taking that garbage. And people know it. There's a lot of people that know about this stuff, and they're pissed off. And so how do you make it go away? Let's create a world war. Let's create a mental breakdown with everybody seeing everything go to shit. That's what you're seeing. That's not an algorithm changing. That's manipulation. They're changing the storyline and the headline so that way they keep you constantly barking up the wrong tree and not remembering what they just did to us. That's what's really going on. That's the real story. That's the real narrative. And how long it takes for them to do that until people stop talking about it, because still people, I'm doing it now. I'm talking about it. I lost friends and family. I watched them go to the grave. They're gone. Healthy people, fit as a fiddle. All of a sudden, brain hemorrhage, boom, heart, boom, gone. And we weren't allowed to go see them laid out. People have real reason to be pissed the fuck off. And they are. And they're sitting here knowing that they have to get people on board with certain ideas. So they have to create heroes like Trump. Let me say something. You're not making your way into the White House unless you're part of that club. And that's why I said in 2016, I'm interested to see what this guy does, because he's not a politician, but he's always been a Democrat. He's always been a Democrat. And he still is a Democrat. He's just wearing a mask, just like the WWF wrestling. He's playing his role as now bad John Cena. He was good John Cena in the beginning. Now he's the bad John Cena. And that makes perfect sense. Like I said in 2016, he's the fall guy. It's easy to blame him. It's easy to blame him when it's controlled demolition. They're all doing this on purpose. And you don't realize it until you step back and say, you know what, I don't want to call myself a Republican. I don't want to call myself a Democrat. I don't want to call myself an independent. I just want to look at this as a realist. What the fuck is going on here? Because none of this shit's getting sorted out. And we're constantly being lied to. We're being led down the primrose lane. We're getting ushered into wars that nobody wants to be a fucking part of. And we're feeding this conglomerate that falls right back into the hands of politicians and people like them in D.C., all around the world. Millions of dollars being pumped to them, our tax dollars, and other countries. This is going on in other countries too. It ain't just America. Wait till you find out in your nation this shit's going on there too. How did we just swing from going from, hey, look at this, Biden fucked this around, he gave all this money to Ukraine, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and then you got Trump saying, we're going to stop all this bullshit. Now we're threatening, we're going to give more money. We're going to give more bullshit the taxpayer fucking pays for. Why are we doing that? Because it's meant to piss people off. And if you're smart, if you're intelligent, you're not going to buy into that bullshit. You're not going to be out there in the fucking streets throwing Molotov cocktails, going out there attacking other people, scratching up their Teslas. Because that's what people that are uncivilized and stupid, uneducated people act like that. But that same response mechanism, that humanistic response, that's what you're about to see in the markets. And that is not the algorithm changing. That's the algorithm working. That's it working. It's doing its job. But they're adding to it all of these outside influences of twisting everybody's opinion about who's to blame. Who's to blame? They're saying this is Trump's recession. We've been in a recession since year one Biden. That's how it's been. But you don't want to call it that because they have to keep their side believing that they're the right side. And the MAGA people are the crazy people. Now the MAGA people are waking up saying, what the hell's going on here? What is Trump doing here? What is he doing? And they hold on to this little sliver of thread of feeling like they did the right thing in history. Well, at least we don't have Kamala Harris. You have the same team regardless. That's it. You have the backup pitcher right now. The same team's playing. They just put another pitcher in there. And he changed teams mid-story. He showed you who he really is. That's what's going on right now. And people are waking up to it. And they're thinking, this is some bullshit here. And when the rest of the world comes in agreement with that, they're like, you know what? This guy should not be there. He's making all the poorest decisions. Now, I know some of you that are Trumpers right now that listen to me and saying, shut the fuck up, you asshole. You don't even vote. You're right. Because I ain't stupid. I ain't fucking stupid. I am aware of this facade, this illusion of choice. And I've made fun of it in the past, but we're in a different storyline now, folks. This is it. The whole shebang is about to pop off. And if you don't see it coming, you're going to be reckless with your money. You're going to be reckless with your purchasing. You should not be out there buying fucking Lamborghinis. You know what you should be doing? Solidifying where you're going to get clean water, how you're going to prepare your family members, your children if you have them, to weather these type of stuff. Look how expensive shit is. Look how expensive things are. And if this war accelerates and we see $300 fucking barrel oil, what do you think it's going to cost you to put gas in your car? You ain't going a fucking place. You're going to lose your life being outside somewhere in your car because they're going to fucking take your car just to get the gas out of it. How's that? How's that make you feel? Does that make you feel like I'm going to take some more leverage and go 15 contracts in my prop firm account? Fuck no, it doesn't. It's sobering because this is the kind of shit that we're teetering on. That doesn't mean clam up and do nothing. Doesn't mean be fearful and go in your bedroom and hide your head under a pillow. It doesn't mean that at all. I'm just saying, hey, look, pay attention because this is where we're at economically. This is where we're at geopolitically. This is where we're at. They have a lot of things that make us be distracted. The Epstein list, the Diddy list, the bullshit that we did, the COVID stuff. They let these people off the hook that poisoned you. Oh, we're going to take the food coloring out of all the foods now. But we got 17 months or whatever it is they give you. Motherfucker, are you telling me that you're saying that this has got to come out of the food right now, but keep selling it for over a year? They're kicking the can down the road. This is the people that's in charge. And they weren't elected. They were not elected to do these things. These Bilderberg motherfuckers, they come around here. Nobody put them in positions. They didn't vote for them. World Economic Forum people, World Health Organization. These people are unelected. And they're not even fucking doctors. And you're believing them, and other people are defending them, and they're getting off scot-fucking-free doing the shit that they've done to people. If you can't see that all this stuff is a distraction to make you forget about what they fucking did to every one of us, what they stole from us, what they fucking kept us from. They told you you can't see your fucking sick relative as they're dying. You can't visit them in the fucking hospital. You can't bury them. You can't fucking see anybody. Wear a fucking diaper on your face and shut the fuck up. That's exactly what they conditioned. Half of the fucking world population still believes that bullshit. It's coming again. It's coming again. The real one. This was a beta test. When they drop that real shit and people start falling out, the last thing you're going to be worried about is how many contracts you can trade in NASDAQ, or how far gold's going to go up or down. You're going to be mind fucked. And most people don't even see it coming because they're so drunk on money right now. Money ain't shit. Money is nothing. It's a distraction. It's a tool for people that know how to use it and master it. But you probably feel like you got a pretty good situation right now with your 401k. I mentioned this in 2016. I said that that's the last bastion for them to plunder because there ain't a fucking stitch one of gold in Fort Knox. Why ain't we find out what we got there? Because it ain't there. There ain't no fucking gold in Fort Knox. There ain't no fucking gold there. We had other countries say, hey, I want our gold back. You know, we told them, nope, you ain't getting it. What the hell? You tell your fucking friend, your best friend, hey, look, can you hold on to this $10,000 for me? I don't want to put it in my bank account because my spouse might spend it. Sure, man, I got you. You give it to him. You come back a week later. Say, listen, thanks, man. I'm glad I could trust you. Can I get my money back? No. What the hell is that? That's a backstabbing. That's what you have seen if you've been paying attention. We've done that to other countries. We've done that. England has done it too. Yep. How long do you think that kind of shit goes on before somebody says, you know what? We're going to punish you. We're going to cost you. And right now, the war is people. That's the artillery of choice. Separating people. What faction and mindset are you going to adopt? Are you on this side? Or are you on that side? I'm on neither. I'm outside of that bullshit. I'm stepping back and I'm watching them both fight each other. Because I ain't going to be consumed by that shit. I'm not worried, folks. I'm not stressing about it. And neither should you because you can't stop it. But you know what you can do? You can be in control of your own finances. You can say, you know what? I'm not going to take crazy fucking risks. As I make money, I'm taking it out and I'm buying tangible assets, not depreciating assets like fucking sports cars. Not going, oh, I'm going to spend all my money on lavish lifestyle. Nope. Do you have a residence outside of your own that if shit gets stupid where you're at, you can go there? Some of this stuff won't be possible for some of you. I understand that you know, this is probably in a way sometimes viewed in a way where it makes you feel depressed. But imagine if you didn't have this perspective that it's likely to come and it happens. You're going to be more scared to do anything. You'll be paralyzed. You won't know what to do. Which is the reason why I even brought it up in 2016. These are long-term macro geopolitical events that are happening. And you aren't stopping it. It doesn't matter if there's a Democrat or a Republican in the White House because they're all the same team. Think about it. What is really being done right now? Nothing. They're just buying more time to let people get pissed off. And the whole idea will be, you're no longer worried about Epstein. You're no worried about P. Diddy and who was on that shit show. You're not worried about, you know, what they did with the COVID era stuff. How many companies were shut the fuck down and people's business were put out of fucking business. Boom. All these people are getting money over in fucking Ukraine. Billions and billions of fucking dollars. Why aren't those people that were forced to close their doors, why aren't they being subsidized and being paid restitution? Because they fucking deserve it. Why are we paying for other people's fucking retirements in another country? Because it's money laundering. But you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear, give me a buy signal, how to find low risk trades. When all this shit falls in your lap, like it will with everybody, and me included, the last thing I'm going to be doing is looking at charts. That's the last thing I'm going to be doing. But while we have time to do it, and we can, we should. But don't lose sight that we are in some shit, man. We are in some fruity shit. And it's about to go ape shit out there. Like, the people are going to lose their minds. Look at them. They can't afford anything right now. And this motherfucker is saying, we're going to do tariffs. Great. Then kill the fucking income tax. No, we're not going to do that. Oh. So we're getting double dicked. No lube. No reach around. That's exactly what's happening too. That's exactly what's fucking coming on. We're paying the fucking tariff. And we're keeping the income tax where it is. I pay 40 fucking percent. If I don't shelter things, I'm paying 40% based on income brackets. If they're going to do the tariffs, do away with the income tax. But they're not. You know what they're doing? They're creating another slush fund. Folks, look back in history. Every single time a civilization went to shit, you know what they did? They plundered the treasury. They took all the fucking money and it was a wealth transfer. Don't take my word for it. Study real history. Real fucking history. Not the Mickey Mouse bullshit that they try to tell you is history. That's why people are stupid. They don't know what fucking sex they are. They don't know what they have going on in their head. What am I? I don't know. What's a woman? What's a man? None of you motherfuckers can adequately define that because you're afraid to say it publicly because you're going to be outcasted. There's so much mental illness right now. They created it. They fostered it. They created this shit. And it's going to spill into the markets, people. It's going to happen. And once it happens, and that shit starts going on, man, they're going to have a field day running the market all over the place. And it's going to feel like things are broken. That's the only thing you do is live day by day, seize the opportunity. Okay, carpe diem. Okay, you have to see what presents itself as an opportunity while you can take advantage of it. Because there's coming a time, real soon, where we won't have this luxury to do it. We won't have it. And there won't be these people on social media showing you windfall victories and tell you it's easy as shit, come over here and copy me type trading, or buy my course, or buy my books, or buy my system, or buy a membership to my Discord, or whatever the hell it is. There's coming a time like that, and they're all going to disappear. And they're going to be sitting in their house, if they still have one, and they're going to be shitting themselves thinking, what in the hell did I do? I did not have no preparation for this. I have my money tied up in shit I can't touch now. When the grid goes down, look, folks. Look what happened in Spain. I told you when the lights fucking go out, your crypto shit ain't worth nothing. Oh, but I got it on what? That you can't access. Think about when the grid goes down. Can you buy anything with your debit card or your credit card? No, you can't. It's cash only. But they're trying to tell us we need to move away from cash. We need to move away. I had someone this year go into my bank account and take $7,500 out. Now I got the money back. It's not a big deal. But they're able to do that because it's electronic funds. Everything's online banking, online banking, online banking. If you have a lot of money in checking accounts, you're a fucking idiot. You need to put your money into a savings account because they cannot do ACH payments through savings accounts. So all you guys that are showing your bank accounts all the time, look at this, I got a couple $100,000. I'm rich. You're not fucking rich too. You're stupid because you're keeping that money in an account where ACH purchases can be made. I had an account that had $200,000 in, which if I lost that with them stealing it for a little while, I know that FDIC is going to pay it back, just like they gave the $7,500 back. But that doesn't happen in any of the accounts I have in savings. It will never happen. That will never, ever happen. And there's no checks on savings accounts. So what is it? It's the best form of protecting your cash on reserve in a bank. And I keep just about $20,000, $30,000 below the FDIC maximum, which is $250,000. Do I believe they have enough money to cover everything if shit goes upside down? Absolutely not. But am I losing sleep over it? Because in that situation, once it gets there, it is what it is. Everybody's on the same playing field then. You make as much money as I make, and I have as much money as you have at that time. When everything goes to shit, we're all equals then. But while we have this time to do what we can, anything did you see how I shifted from you can grow wealth, you can grow wealth, you can grow wealth, and then COVID transitioned to me, you need to make ends meet. That wasn't by accident. I told everybody. I had people leave my mentorship in 2020, said I was a fucking nut.
So true.
And they're begging to come back in. They're begging me to come back in. Because everything I said has happened. Everything's expensive. They can't afford shit. Groceries off the fucking charts. How much does it cost for food where you're at? Where you're at right now, how much does food cost? Is it expensive or is it cheap? I'm asking you. And guess what? You better have deeper pockets that you have right now. Because it's going to get even more expensive. And if you can't find a way to push savings into a place where you can access it, that means cash reserves outside of a bank. Look at what happened in Spain. The power went out. And they come up with some Mickey Mouse bullshit excuse. Well, we had a climate event that caused the grid to go down. Get the fuck out of here. That's controlled. They're doing a test run in that country. And it's going to happen in good old America. You want to see people go fucking crazy? Let the lights go out for a week. Let the fucking food shelves get wiped out in hours. And there ain't nothing being brought to the stores. Let that situation happen wherever you live in America. It's going to be the wild, wild west. And the things that you have to procure, whether it be gas for people that have been smart enough to stockpile a little bit of it, and it's going to be like a black market. It sounds like Mad Max scenario shit, doesn't it? It does. But there's a lot of people that learn from me that that's a way of life over in Africa. That's the way it is. Power goes down. Where am I going to get energy from? I need gasoline for my generators. I need to do this. They make ends meet however they got to do it. In America, we think we walk around like shit and never going to happen here. Dude, it's coming. They've tested during the last 4 years how they can hit our grid. And a certain combination of certain things happening, the whole thing comes down. Why the fuck are we getting our energy from Canada? The whole northeastern block of the United States subsidized through Canada's production and electric. How the fuck's that even making sense? How does that make sense? It makes no sense. None. And here we are, we're butting heads with China, where we get all of the infrastructure that keeps our grid going, repair it, and they're saying we're stopping everything coming over there now. That's what you don't see. That's the deduction of all these things coming and coalescing to a shitstorm that nobody sees happening. It's coming. It's going to come. I can go about 6 months with the lights and everything off. I can run 6 months. I have power systems that will allow me to do that nonstop for 6 months. But after 6 months, I'm a fucking caveman. Now, it costs me a lot of money. It costs me a lot of things and resources to put that shit in place. Not most of you couldn't do that. So my question to you is this: what are you wasting your money on right now? It sounds like it cannot happen, but just take a look around, folks, because this shit is coming. The people in our White House right now, they're not looking out for you. They say they are, but they're not. They're worried about dumb Mickey Mouse shit. Sure, we get treated wrong in America. We have to pay a huge tariff for this going into that country. Who gives a shit? We're throwing billions and billions of dollars over there to a country that's just a laundry machine. But people got wiped out in a hurricane in Tennessee and Carolina, and they're living in fucking tents. Why are they living in a fucking tent? If you were living in a fucking tent in the South America, or lower states of America, how would you feel about billions of your tax dollars going over to another fucking country by a fucking goofball that used to dance around in fucking leather tight pants and high heels? Get the fuck out of here. I would be mad as fuck. I would be wanting to raise some motherfucking hell. And now we're threatening that we're going to give more of it to them for spite. It's all designed to piss us off. And it's going to splash over into the marketplace. It's coming, folks. And when you piss enough people off and shit starts happening, look what they're doing with the Tesla stuff. Oh, they're going to scratch the car. That's how it starts. That's a demarker. That's telling you the show has started. People are willing to risk their fucking freedom to put a fucking scratch on a car that doesn't belong to them because they believe evil Elon Musk needs to punish. He needs to be punished. Think about it. Then all of a sudden it'll be like, well, we got to go out and do more damage to the people that believe this and that. In my neighborhood, you don't see any like political statements or signs in the yards. Maybe you do, see where you're at, but we're in like an affluent area. We don't see that kind of stuff. But the outskirts of our neighborhood used to be littered with Trump, and then you see Biden and Harris and stuff like that. You don't see anybody with Trump signs up right now. Why? Two things are happening. One, they're kind of pissed off, and they don't want to show any allegiance to him right now. The second is they're scared shitless that someone's going to do something to their property because they see what's going on with Elon Musk and Tesla. So MAGA people are taking a step back visibly where they don't want to show their support of him anymore. It doesn't mean that they don't support him. It just means that they're taking that step back and they don't want to be known publicly. There's this shift that's taking place. It's mind control. Government in Latin means mind control. All you got to do is take a broad step back and say, okay, what's being done and what's being focused on right now, and where is the big stones in the road that should be being taken care of, and they're not. It's all this little side stuff. And it's all meant to get you gassed and pissed off. And we're going into the hot months where all the protests always take place. Cities burn in the summertime. And as soon as that stuff happens, nobody's going to be worrying about nothing. But am my house going to get caught on fire? Am I going to have wildfire in my area? Because there's enough people that came into our country that have every reason to do that kind of shit. It's easy to start a fire. It's easy. And when people start doing crazy shit and they want to do maximum damage, they're going to do stuff like that. Do you have a way to protect your house if a wildfire breaks out? I have an irrigation system that completely floods my whole fucking area. I got 8 acres. And this whole thing will be a swamp. It'll be a fucking swamp inside of an hour and a half. That sounds crazy. Well, good. Well, you can call it crazy, but I call my fucking house standing still. It's brick, mortar, and I have a moat system on delivery, just like that. I take this shit seriously. I'm not telling you some bullshit. I've prepared. Since 2020, I put things in motion. In 2019, I said shit's coming. It's worse than 9/11. I told you all this shit was coming. And they made fun of me. They said chicken little this and chicken little that. Fear porn. Okay. Look at what happens. The whole fucking planet's messed up. Everybody's in the broke fucking house. It costs a lot of money for me to buy food. And it pisses me off that I gotta spend that much for things that just 5 years ago, I could fill a grocery cart with $150. $150? Shit. That's nothing now. That's nothing. And if you have a family, how are you providing for them? Just barely, if anything else, you're borrowing from other people or running out credit cards that person's going to have to get paid. That credit card is going to have to be paid. The limit's going to be met eventually. And you have to make a change. You have to change what it is you're doing. What pursuits are you having right now? Do you want to live a lavish lifestyle? Or are you preparing to weather a storm that everybody's going to experience? It's coming, folks. There's no avoiding it. It is absolutely coming. And if you're not prepared for it, or at least hedging it some way by having cash reserves on hand, you're fucking around with fire. You're literally waiting for the worst case scenario to happen and be ill prepared for it. Because if our grid goes down in the United States, that's not something that we're going to turn it back on. Where are we going to get the parts if China says, fuck you, we're not sending shit? Because we don't have lots of them sitting around in reserve. Ask people that are in the industry. I have linesmen that are friends of relatives, and they tell you all the time, they got to wait for all these things to happen. It's a shit show when these other counties and states have to go to other states because they don't have enough on demand to fix all of these things. When the storms go through and rip down the power lines and all the capacitors and I don't even know what the hell these things are, transformers. We don't make them in America. We have no real stockpile of that stuff except for on hand, just a few over here, a few over there. And it takes this concerted effort of other states to come together just to fix one area that's destroyed by a storm. And that restocking time isn't immediate. And now where we get all those parts from, China. They said, go fuck yourself, Trump. That's what they've done. Go to the ports on the West Coast. Check in on people that live over there. Say, hey, what's the ports look like right now? A fucking barren wasteland. All your medications, your prescription medications, coming from India and China. Isn't it interesting that now India is getting fucked with Pakistan, and Pakistan's getting fucked with India? You don't think there's a future disruption in dispersing the pharmaceuticals that come out of that country? You're damn right it will be. Because here's the end goal. Lower population. There's too many of us. Too many of us that say, we don't want to listen to your way of thinking. Because you're fucking maniacs. You're psychopaths. You're willing to kill people to get what you want. That's the reality of all this, folks. The end game is a lower population. And if they can get us fighting one another in the streets and killing one another easily, that's one good way. Not that it's good in a sense it's good, but it's a good way in their perspective. And if they can control the food, and they got control of the food. You control the food, you control the people. Look at Africa. Look at them. These poor souls are willing to do whatever they can just to get food. They'll rob you. They'll steal from you. And I would do the same fucking thing if I was starving. I've said it before. Listen, if it comes down where I can't access my money and I run out of supplies here and at my other home, guess what I'm going to be willing to do? The unfucking thinkable. And you would be too. Say otherwise, you're a fucking liar. My kids are going to eat. I might go without, but my fucking kids are going to eat. And they're pushing people globally, everywhere, with ass-backwards government, ass-backwards leadership. It's not even leadership anymore, but it's meant to piss you off. And instead of saying, you know what? Things got to change in the extreme. What that means for you, I don't know. But I know I'm not going in the fucking streets and doing stupid shit. I'm going to hunker down and take care of my own for as long as I can. But the end result is less people. Because less people is easier to control. Governments have expanded exponentially when they should be small governments that are serving the populace, the citizens. We don't have that. There's this paradigm shift. The only thing that's changed algorithmically is government's gotten bigger and more control, and populations have lost their freedom, their rights, their liberties. Think about it, folks. It's meant for chaos. It's meant to do those things. And you think that our trading endeavors, the playground that we have the privilege to be a part of every day, Monday through Friday, unless it's a holiday, you think that they're not going to fuck with that? That's where the money's at. If they reduce the population and control the wealth that's sitting right there to be taken, you think they're not going to do that? Come on. That's exactly what they intend to do. But they have to have a storyline that justifies why everything went to shit. They got some goober in the White House that's pissed off, and he has a bone to pick with everybody. And he thinks he can bully other countries and tell them what they're going to do. You better do this or do that. You think Putin gives a fuck what he's saying? No. You think the president of China thinks that Trump has their best interest in mind? No. They're laughing at this guy. They're laughing at them. And what are we going to do? We're going to threaten. We're going to do the only thing we can do. War, baby. War, war, war. Our commodity is war. Our commodity, our service to the world's economy is we can make war and war instruments. So isn't it interesting that all these wars are popping off? I told you this is going to be the end result in 2020. I said this is only going to end with World War III. That's what this has all been hyped up to do it. You lose a lot of people that way. People that are in high seats get lots more richer than they are. And they establish power and control. Because money's not it anymore. There's lots of billionaires. Money's easy. You've seen that. It's easy to go out there and find it. Just watch some ICT videos and put some work into it, back test. And there it is. You can pay off your deficit, right? If it could only be that easy. I could balance the fucking budget. They give me access to it. I'll put a fucking automated trading fucking thing on there. In 6 years, everything will be fucking perfect. Perfect. No drawdown. How about that? But we won't have that problem long. Because 4 years go by like this. Look how fast this year has zipped through. We're in the 5th month already. How much has changed? Nothing. Shit's more expensive. Oh, there's no recession now. Inflation's gone down. Where? Where's the savings at? Because I don't see it. And I got shit tons of money. I don't see any savings. I see everything I spend money on going higher. And for you that don't have as much as I have, I'm sure it's sickening. Like, how the fuck can this keep going on? I'm barely making it. They're choking you out. That's exactly what it's designed to do. Because if you get to that point, you're going to start doing things that you would never think to do. During the summer months, you want to just unload on everybody. You got to snap. Just let it go. Maybe you never would shoplift, but maybe you might do it this summer. You would never stick that pound of ground beef in your bag in the store, but when you're broke and you can't make ends meet, you're contemplating doing that. Let me tell you something. I'm not above doing that if I had to. And that's just fucking real talk right there. My family's going to eat. And I understand how people are going to act when when it hits the fan. They're all going to be thinking like this. And I'll repent afterwards. But your family's your family. You got to do what you got to do. And other people doing less than us, less fortunate than us, are being pushed into decisions that are life-altering. Not only for themselves, but for other people. And for the people that sit there and they leave comments and say, oh, fear porn, nothing ever happens, this stuff's always been said for years and years and years, get the fuck out of here. That's a 20-year-old that doesn't even know what history is because they stopped teaching real history. You got judges in America right now that don't have the fucking authority to overrule a presidential fucking decision. They don't have the rights to do that. They don't have the control. They don't have the platform to do it. They don't have the reach. And they're testing the perception of the American people because they're saying, yeah, finally a judge stands up to... It doesn't work that way, folks. They stopped teaching civics for a reason. Most people don't even know what the fucking Bill of Rights is. They've never read the Constitution. They don't know what the fucking stages of due process is, who's entitled to it or not. People coming into our country illegally have more rights than the fucking people that are here that pay fucking taxes. Yes, that's a fucking problem. I don't give a shit where you come from. It's not limited to Latin America. It's to everybody that was going through there. But guess what? Flip side of the coin. If I was elsewhere and that was going on, my ass would have came through that fucking border too. I'd be getting my $10,000 fucking debit card. I'd be getting my free cell phone. I'd be getting my free health care. I would have done it too. I'm not blaming them. But we have a real fucking problem. It ain't going away fast or easy. And I don't have the solution. The only thing I'm doing is preventing a complete meltdown where I have no access to resources when it happens. We have never had a sustained blackout. We've not had that. Spain just tested it. And the citizens tasted it. How frustrating would that be? You can't pay for anything. You need things, but you can't pay for it. And you don't have cash on hand because everything's been going towards electronic debit and banking. And you guys love this crypto bullshit. Your fucking wallets won't be accessible. So how are you going to pay for shit? You don't think, because you don't think that this type of stuff's going to happen here. But that's exactly what's coming. And that's how they will force all this shit on you. And their solution after they present the problem is what everybody's going to be forced to approve and say, yes, I am going to subscribe to that way of doing things. People's bank accounts are going to get plundered. I've already seen it happen with mine. My wife's account, because she does all this debit stuff, that's why we do not bank in the same accounts. And you can say whatever the fuck you want to say about me, but my wife, she spends money stupidly. She swipes debit cards, she swipes credit cards in any place. She doesn't care. She ain't looking for those little things that lay over top of the credit card reader and skim it. So she's always having issues with her bank accounts. But I'm exempt from her shit. She's always battling the fucking banks to get her money back in her account because she's getting hit all the time. Because she's reckless with her spending. She has no name on any bank account that has my name on it. Not one. Not fucking one. I share no bank account with none of them. Not one of my kids, not my wife. I hedge against all that stuff. I don't own a debit card. I don't own one. They're the stupidest fucking thing anybody could have. And you probably use a debit card every single day for your purchasing. All you're doing is ensuring that your number's out there. And it's a direct route right to your bank account. Money. I do purchases through a company corporate credit card. That's their money. When they hit that card, that's their fucking problem. Meantime, I'm not paying that bill. And I have an Amex Gold card. They're always pushing me for the Platinum card. They're always just saying, hey, look, let's get this Centurion card. Let's get this. No. I rolled back down to just the Gold card. It only cost me $400 a year. And then I use it so much that I get perks back for it. I'm rich, but I ain't stupid with money. I do things because I see what's coming. When I was younger, I didn't think this way. But I have a family that's growing. And I want to make sure that I can take care of them when shit gets upside down. I may not be able to do it entirely. I may not be able to do everything I'm preparing to be willing to do. But at least I'm sleeping at night knowing I can. I can make an attempt to do these things. I'm not out there living lavishly when I could. I want to be responsible with what's been given to me. Like I want to be a good steward with what it is that's been given to me. And I'm trying to cultivate that in you as a listener. For young people, you don't want to hear this message. You probably already, I don't even know how many people are watching. You probably just signed off and said, okay, this is bullshit. I'm done. There's nothing about trading anymore. You're going to remember the things you've heard so far when shit goes upside down. And you can't press the button to get into or out of a trade. What do you think is going to happen? As soon as the grid goes down or an event causes them to make trading inaccessible for an extended period of time. It could be a week, it could be a couple weeks, it could be 3 days, it could be one fucking day. The way the world is right now, imagine your 401k that you self-direct the trade yourself. You have access to your money. You're doing all the investments. You're trading your own accounts. All of a sudden, you can't do shit. You can't get in or get out. You can't add to or take some off. See, some of you weren't even alive during the 9/11. I was stuck in the market. I was stuck in the market. I couldn't get out. What do you think is going to happen when people see that happen here and they open the market 1,500 to 2,000 points lower? As it's designed to cause people to freak out and puke up their guts. And everybody panic sell. Boom, 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 boom. That's controlled demolition, just like 9/11 was. And they're gonna create the very thing that they're gonna blame Trump. He caused all this stuff. It's been put in motion decades ago, folks. This inflated run up, this parabolic run in equities and stocks, none of those companies deserve to be valued at the prices that they're at now. Not one company deserves to be valuated at where they're at right now. But they're going to plunder it. They're going to plunder it. And it's going to be done in a way where you can't trade it. They're going to pull the plug. It's the biggest rug pull that's ever going to happen. And that's the outcome. And it's going to go so low, that's their reset. It's real, real cheap for them, and they can start the whole process all over again. And it'll be another 75 years to 100 years of probably advancing in the stock market. That's their goal. That's their plan. I don't think it's going to work that way, but that's what they're trying to do. There's a whole lot of carnage and chaos coming. And while we have the daylight to be able to do this, and we can make a little bit of scratch and put a little bit on my side to buy some things, non-perishable foods, shore up your house. Is there some projects around your house that need to be addressed? Things that shore up your sound home. Or you have a car that you need to get new tires or new engine work done, and you can't afford to get a new car. You don't want to make the foolish mistake of paying way too much for them. Tariffs are causing them to be 25% or more if they're outside of the United States. If you can fix it, fix it. If you have a car that you're not getting rid of anytime soon, pick up some air filters, oil filters, and some oil for it. Some spark plugs. Maybe a fan belt or something that, in case shit goes upside down, chances are someone that knows a mechanic if they're not one themselves. And you may be able to have the parts for them to do it. And you can exchange something and say, hey, look, at least my shit's running. But what do you think happens if we go full-scale war with Iran? They don't do a whole global supply of the oil, but they do big enough that's going to be impactful. And then if I was Russia, I'd be like, fuck you, we're not going to be sending any oil anywhere else either. Now think about that. That parlays this problem exponentially, which would feed what? The energy market's going through the roof. My electric bill, because we have propane at my home here that I'm talking from here. This is a propane-fed home, and my electric bill is over $1,200 a month. And I'm conservative as someone. I don't leave things that I'm not using plugged in because they charge you a delivery fee for anything that's plugged in. Probably didn't know that, but if you have a big house with a lot of receptacles, you would see a notable difference in your bill if you just unplug things you don't use all the time. But even with that type of living, just electric is over $1,200 a month. My propane bill is about $1,200 a month, give or take. It goes down a little bit in the summertime unless I'm heating the pool up for a little while. But other than that, the average is around $1,200 yearly, month to month. I've never seen this home go above 800 until last year. And I think it's going to go even higher now. So I think to myself all the time when I'm paying these bills, I'm like, man, if I had to pay this and I didn't have this luxury of having what I've been given, I would literally be stressing out like crazy. And I know people that are my students, they constantly give me feedback all the time. They leave comments saying, I'm thankful for this because it helped me pay our utility bills for the last 3 months. I'm cushioned. I have a little bit of a cushion. And they're thankful for that. That's the kind of message I like hearing. That's what I like seeing. I don't like seeing, here's the new car I just bought. Because to me, you're showing me that you didn't even listen to me. You didn't even listen. You're trying to distract yourself from mundane, everyday living to be something versus preparing, making yourself fortified to weather the storm. Because you're not going to be able to think clearly when the shit gets worse. And it's going to get worse. Food's going to get more expensive. Nothing is saying that the food's going to get cheaper. Where are we going to get cheaper food from? How about this? You buy a loaf of bread, right? Sure you do. Everybody buys bread. The plastic wrap that goes on them, a lot of that comes from other countries. The raw material that make that stuff comes from other countries. There's a lot of things that we eat or purchase to run the manufacturing that produce and package our food that comes from China. So we could have the raw material good of food, but they have no way of packaging it and shipping it around to sell it to people in our own country. Did you know that? So you don't think about that because the news ain't telling you that's what we're exposed to. Same thing in your other country, England, Canada. Every other country out there has the same problem, and China holds the cards. But in America, we're over the barrel right now because they're saying, we're going to call your bluff and we're going to stop all the shit going over there. See, things are about to get real, real hard. Unless things change drastically, immediately, just like that. And I guess it could, but we're still going to have some reverberations from all this stuff. It doesn't mean the food's going to get cheaper right away. But imagine your food bill tripling. What does it cost you to feed yourself every month and your family? What happens if it goes 3 times that? Can you weather that? Can you weather the stress of that, where you can think clearly and it's not affecting your trading? Chances are that's going to be the undermining. Because you could be making money, but all of a sudden now you have to make money. Whereas before I'm going to grow my account. I don't have to take the money out. I'm going to just let it build up. Now you have to take withdrawals. You have to take the money out. You think you can trade objectively like that? That's like quitting quitting your job to start trading after you learn how to trade and you're starting with a $5,000 account, but you're going to support your family and yourself. You're not going to do that. Not and succeed, no. Which is why I tell you to have at least 1 year minimum, preferably 2 years of living expenses. Then a $100,000 account. Then you're prepared to make a go at it. Because you're not forcing yourself, I have to make money. See, you're not listening to me and thinking this has any application to you until it will. The stress that's going to be placed on everyone is going to cause you to second guess every trade you're getting into. So doesn't it make sense to have rule-based ideas that you can lean on and say, you know what? I'm a wreck emotionally and psychologically right now. I have so much stress. My children are still too young to take care of themselves. I have a wife. I have a husband that's disabled. I have all these things. I have pets. I have dogs. Okay. We make our own food for them. It costs me $150 a week to make the food I feed them because they eat something I can eat themselves. Like I could literally take the food that I give them and put a fork in it and eat it. That's how they live. I don't want my dogs to eat garbage. But I'm prepared for it to become over $500 a week to feed them. Their diet will not change. Do you have the wherewithal to be able to do that for your family? Do you have the mindset that's going to afford you the luxuries of saying, you know what? I'm unshakable. Yes, everything around me right now is going to shit, and it's hard to get things without spending too much money on it. But I have a supply of it. I have a cushion, a pantry full of things that should not perish right away. I have cash on hand in case I need to make decisions and be able to pay in case the power goes down. And I have the freedom of worry and stress because I've built in this cushion of I have extras. I'm not fearful that the grocery stores just got emptied out, and I can take the next trade when that's still available to us. You'll be able to invest and capitalize on the very strange occurrence of bad things happening yields to opportunities for rich people or people that know how to trade. Chaos and destruction, storms, droughts, famine, all those things are terrible. But someone that's educated can profit from that and not be made more destitute. And I don't see any, I have no qualms against people that would see that and say, oh, you're evil because you're making money off it. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Okay? If you can't see the means of being able to multiply what you have in a bad situation, you're stupid. You're a fool. I'm not hurting anybody by taking these trades, and you're not hurting anybody either. We all sign the same risk disclosures when we open up our accounts. But how many of you are prepared to be able to engage in trade, managing yourself, your emotions, in those extreme conditions? Because that's what's happening. It's just a slow boil, folks. It's just a slow boil. You feel cushioned because you have cash in the bank. But how much cash do you have in hand? Because unless it's in your fucking hand, you don't have it. You don't have it. And you need to prepare for those types of things. Because what good is it? What good is it if you have lots of money to be able to trade, but you don't have food in your house to take care of your family? And they're barking at you saying, listen, why are you pushing them fucking buttons and playing around on the trading shit and we don't have any groceries in the house? And your response is, I gotta make the money to buy the groceries. When you should have had a supply already there. And you're gonna be stressed out. You think you can fucking take that fucking trade that you're taking right now? You think you can trade your prop firm account under that kind of bullshit? You can't. Nobody fucking human can. You care about these people, right? They're your fucking family. You will not be able to do that. So that's what I'm saying. You're hedging yourself against the unthinkable. At least you've done something. So that way when it happens, you won't be reckless. You won't be tore up with stress. You won't be thinking, I got to put a trade on right now because I need to make food. I need to make food fall in the laps of my children. You're spoiled. You're completely oblivious to what could potentially upset everything. And you could be a great trader. You could be the best ICT fucking student trader. You could be all those things. But it doesn't mean shit if you're so stressed out that you can't even focus to take a trade. And every losing trade in those conditions feels like you're on the verge of blowing the account. Think about it. I'm not talking to fucking, I'm not monetized here, am I? I hijacked fucking Kit's fucking show. But I mean what I'm telling you. What do you think I've been doing the last 5 fucking years? I'm preparing I know this ain't done. It's not done. They did a beta test with this COVID bullshit, and they're constantly building all these other little side stories to justify why everything crashed during this administration. And I want to be wrong. I want to be fucking wrong. For my own family's fucking sake, I want to be wrong. But by all indications, I'm batting 1,000 fucking percent. Since 2016, and then 2019, the shit show started. You think it's just going to just fade away and everything's going to go back to euphoria? It's going to be easy for everybody to have money. Jobs are going to be plentiful. Look around. People are laying off. You're used to having this 6-figure job and your shit's getting shut down. Where are you going to go to get that now? That's stressful. That's scary. I don't want to be in that situation. I know what it was like living with anxiety. And I know that while I have time and resources, I have to put them in good use. I encourage my friends and family, and largely they all think I'm full of shit. They don't care because they think I'm just the rich guy, and there it is. Okay. But I know they're coming to my house asking me for handouts when it happens, and I have them when they come. I don't want to turn any of my family away, my extended family. I know what's coming. Whether you want to believe me or not, I don't give a fuck. But for the ones that are smart and they care about themselves and their family, they're going to listen to what I'm saying. They're going to say, you know what, I'm going to make some changes in how I spend my money. I got to have a pay me first mentality. What's that mean? I'm going to put a percentage of my income that I'm making as a trader and your job and say, you know what, I don't give a shit about football, basketball, all these sports. I'm not going to games. I'm not going to concerts. I love Counting Crows. I told you recently. And I wanted to go see them. They're going to be in Columbia, Maryland here in a little while. And I'm not paying $750 fucking dollars. I love Adam. I love this. I love the Counting Crows, but they're not worth $750 to sit there and watch them sing something that, you know, it's not even going to sound like it does in the album. So I'm wealthy, but I'm not stupid with my money. And you need to be having that mindset right now, because we are in that last little stage of where what we can do, we can. And there's going to be a day, I don't know what day it is. I don't know that. No one knows that. It's going to happen like 9/11 did. One day you're going to wake up, the weather's going to be pretty. Indian summer day, driving home, comfortable, thankful. Walk through the door, all hell breaks loose. What they're going to do next pales in comparison, because they're going to hit everything at the same time. There's no escaping it. Gold ain't save you. Silver ain't going to save you. Cryptos ain't going to save you. Trading futures ain't going to save you. None of that shit. The only market that's going to make any sense is commodities, and they're going to go fucking vertical. Limit up. Limit up. Limit up. And if you're properly positioned and you know how to deal with it, long story short, you'll be in a better position than most people. But sadly, not everybody's equipped for that. Not mentally, not emotionally, and certainly not financially. But it ain't like the first time you heard me talk like this. I started talking and crowing about this in 2016. So we're talking 9 years ago. And some of you laughed it off saying, ha ha ha, look around, bro. Yeah, it's a shit show coming. And maybe some of you have done what I've said. And I have students that believe me. They didn't quit mentorship. They didn't ask for a fucking refund, said you're a crazy ass loony motherfucker. I can't listen to a mentor crying because I care about what I'm talking about. And these same people continuously asking me to let them back into that community. And the answer is no. Well, that's cruel. No. You had one chance, and it's done. You chose to leave, you left. Done. I have no time for people like that. Because when the shit gets deep again, they're going to run around and do the crazy shit again because they're reckless. The people that listened and said, you know what, I got extra food, and when shit went down and we were in lockdown, I didn't suffer. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I got testimonies from people that said, you know what, I believe what you said. It made sense to me, and I put myself in a situation. I had to be in a better preparation state than I was. And it happened where they lived. Not in America, in other countries. And they got through it fine. Where other people, they're going through a whole lot of shit. Stress. Without. I'm doing it again here. Maybe it was rude of me to go into this. Maybe it was something I should never mention or talked about. Maybe I took the opportunity and had too much liberty and go in this direction this far and extreme about it. I don't give a fuck. I don't apologize, kid. I don't. Because this is what it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Because people don't see it. They don't see it coming. They're not preparing for it. And when it happens, everybody's going to say, I wish I would have known better. I wish I'd known this was coming because I would have done this, and this. Well, here it is. Here we are at 2019 again. It's July. Here it is, October in 2019. I said it 2 times. I said, shit's coming. You better get your shit together. And in March 2020, the world changed. And we're still living in the bullshit. And they're trying to kick dirt over top of that and make you forget about it. And they're willing to do anything to do so because they got to keep you in control. So my question to you in closing, because I got to get out of here. I was supposed to be at a family function 3.5 hours ago. My question to you is this. What are you going to change right now to do whatever you feel comfortable to try to hedge against this stuff coming? Because what's going to happen if I'm wrong? What could happen? If you have extra cash reserves, if you have extra things around the house that you use that you may not be able to get your hands on, let alone 30 days from now, not even counting 12 months at the end of the year. Are you going to do something differently? Or are you going to just say, you know what, this guy's, it's fear porn. It's fun to listen to. It's scary, but nothing's going to happen. Or are you going to be like, you know what? I have family. I have children that depend on me. And I want to make sure I have peace of mind because I like what I'm doing. And as long as I have the access to trade my money, I want to be able to free up mental equity because you're all going to be fucking mentally bankrupt when this shit happens. And you're not going to know what you're doing. You're going to be constantly watching the news, trying to figure out what's going on. And they're going to lie to you just like they've been lying all along. And you're going to remember this conversation. You're going to remember the shit I said. Just like a lot of you remember in 2016, I said that Trump was going to get in there and they're going to use him as a fall guy. Look what they've done. He was the Messiah his first time here. The chosen one. That was his fucking words. He literally came out and said, I could go out there and shoot somebody in the street and get away with it. They'd let me get away with that. And you think I talk arrogantly. And now he comes out and everything that he's promising that he was going to change and do ain't happening. That's designed. It's designed to make you feel demoralized, feel like you've been betrayed. He's just playing bad John Cena right now. And just like in wrestling, he's staying in character. But you can't see it that way because that's not realistic. That's not part of the paradigm. The left-right paradigm, which is nonsense. It's all the same people. They're all on the same show. You're all in the Truman Show. Okay? It's all scripted. You just don't realize it, but you're slowly waking up to it. And when you live outside the influence of all that stuff, you don't live in fear. You're always steps ahead. You're not surprised when it happens. You're prepared if it does, and you can't change it. So it's very liberating living like this. I don't live like a crackpot afraid to go outside my house. I'm well protected. I have a lot of brass friends and a lot of friends that's, a lot of freedom seeds share. Okay? Let's put it that way. I can ventilate someone unwelcome in my home very, very efficiently. If you don't have things like that, maybe you should get one. If you don't have the freedom seeds that go in them, maybe you should stock up on them because ammo price is going to go through the fucking roof. They're already expensive. Do you have a way of getting clean drinking water? Right now, if the grid went down and water wasn't pumping to your house anymore, where would you go to get fresh water or potable water where you can make it drinkable? Think about those types of things. Because if you're forced to think about it when the shit's hitting the fan, you're not going to think clearly. Do you have online, not online, but do you have on hand any prescription medications? This can heat up, folks. In India being tore up with Pakistan fighting, and China, both of those are the number one providers for medication, prescription medication. Heart, blood pressure, diabetes, all those medications predominantly come outside of the United States. We don't produce any of that stuff. How about your testing strips? You're diabetic? You might want to stock up on some of that stuff. Testing strips, lancers, a backup lancing device, alcohol prep wipes, all that shit comes from China. That's not coming over here right now. How's that going to affect you if you are a very sensitive diabetic? Folks, it's not about buy and sell signals. It's about just common decency and compassion. I'm trying to prepare you the only way I can. Somebody asked me this morning, I think it was Adam, what are you thinking about ICT? This. How can I communicate it to you? How can I communicate to you without sounding like a Bible thumper? This is the first time I mentioned it. How the Lord's dealing with me. I don't want to talk about these things. I know you're not going to want to listen to me. It's not exciting. It doesn't make you rich. I don't even know why he pressed it on me in 2016. I didn't go out there planning to talk about it. After I said all those things, I was like, where'd that come from? I know now where it came from. And it's meant for you to learn from it. Do what you can while you can. Because there's coming a time, real soon, where we won't have this luxury. We won't have the ability to do it. It'll be outside our reach. And because that's the likelihood, you have to think about the gravity of that. You will not be thinking clearly. I know I won't be in the state of mind that I'm in right now. And I'm well stocked. I have done whatever I could within my human capabilities, with the resources and the money and all the things and the freedom I have. I've done the best I could to do it. And I still am not prepared as much as I want to be. And I know I'm going to feel stressed because I have loved ones that are going to make stupid decisions. They're not going to listen. They're not going to follow, good sound logic and common sense. Don't do this, do that. My kids don't listen. They're just like you when you're parents. They don't listen. And when it comes to stressful events like that, it's going to be exasperated. So how are you going to spend your time making this money with good old ICT concepts? Is it about luxury for you? Living the fast life? That's what I said. When you learn this stuff, I'm interested to see what you're going to do with it. Because the fools, the idiots, the dumb people take it and they make money with it and they blow it on dumb stuff. Cars are fun, don't get me wrong. Lamborghinis, they're fun, they're cute to look at. They're too expensive to maintain. They're not worth the money you spend on them. And the novelty wears off as soon as all your neighbors see it. So unless you get an influx of new people always finding you and seeing you, and you get the dopamine hit of, wow, look at the car you drive. They're pointless owning it. They're pointless. They're fun to have. Don't get me wrong, they're fun. But they're not practical. Patrick, and I'm sure you're probably listening, think about how long you're holding your cars. The novelty wears off fast, doesn't it? And you pour a lot of money into them. You might want to take a little bit. You have a son. You have a son that you can hedge and protect to make sure he has things, to make sure he eats, to make sure he's clothed, he has shoes on his feet, all these things. It's easy to say, I got plenty of money, I can go out into the store and get it. Until you realize a lot of the stuff we wear and the materials that we use to make them come from China. The raw materials. A lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, there might be lots of food in the fields, the grains and all that stuff, and the meats. But if you can't wrap it up to produce it to give it to the people, you can't sell it. And that's what people don't see. As a commodity trader, I know that. That's the raw materials, the resources that these large producers have to have the access to that. If they don't have access to that, it doesn't matter if they have all the food that would go in the packing material. If they don't have a way to get it to the public, you can't eat. The stores will remain empty. The shelves will not be stocked. End of story. Chaos will ensue. But we will experience the lights going out in this country. It's going to happen. A lot of people like me, I got 6 deep freezers full of shit. Meats, chicken, everything. My power will stay on for 6 months. After 6 months, I'll have food that I can't consume in 6 months that will go bad. I worry about that. There's nothing I can do about it. I trust the Lord. I give him this worry. I give him this concern. And I take it day by day. I do what I can and how I can do it. And I live soberly and I try to be a good steward. I try to be a role model to all of you. I don't show off this and show off that. And I keep it to what it is about finding setups that make money. And I hopefully inspire you to do those things and try to present a manner of preserving your money and not trying to live lavishly. Because it's expensive to do that, and the return on the investment of doing it never pales or pans out in a manner where I'm like, I'm glad I did that, showing off. And if anybody out there that lives like that right now in front of you, I guarantee you, all of them think, I was expecting a bigger pop from the audience when I did this. When I showed them this, I was expecting a better return from my audience responses. I was expecting them to look up to me more. That's the pride of life. That's the thing, the flesh. That's what we have to deal with when we're making lots of money. And none of that shit's going to matter when the lights go out. We're all the same men. Our net worth is the same men. When gasoline's not in the pumps anymore, because shit went crazy and they got to fuel the war machine, doesn't give a fuck about how fast your Lamborghini can go. Doesn't matter what color wrap you have around it. You won't run it because it won't have gas to go in it. What are you going to do then? If you have the decision of putting gas in a generator that keeps the electric and the refrigerator and the freezer running in your house, or taking a spin in your Lamborghini, what are you going to put the gas in? That's all I'm saying. But if you stay with me this long, Kit, you could have pulled the plug, and I appreciate you not coming in and interjecting and let me say what my piece was, and I'm content with what I said. I'm going to escape here and leave you all to it. And if I've inspired you at least to do some kind of preparation for you and your families, then great. You can laugh at me, you can troll me, you can say whatever you want to say. I'm thankful I had the opportunity to say it.